Assalamu alaikum and hello to everybody. Greetings in the universal greeting of blessings to everyone.
Not yet,
Let us
dear,
first
not yet, just a moment. You are live here.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to everybody and welcome to today. Let me first greet everyone in the universal of blessings. Everybody else today. Before we begin, we start with a small introduction to what IIU is about. So, International Internship University is the world's first internship-based virtual university, building a better and a brighter future for all young learners, and is committed to provide quality, accessible, affordable, skill-based, and location-independent education to learners across the world. IIU is providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses and internships to their e-learners across the globe with a high team of high caliber and experienced global educators. IIU has been accredited and affiliated with the World Education Organization and International Accreditation Organization and collaborated with all of the world's top universities and educational institutions through the platform of massive open online courses. IIU provides various certificates and diploma courses. There is always that one person who has the vision, the thought, the idea behind a successful venture and organization. And if we talk about the man behind the success of IIU, it is none other than our beloved co-founder of IIU, Mr. Piyush Pandit. He concocted the world's first virtual internship university during a pandemic, the International Internship University, the IIU, and we give thanks to him as we give thanks to our Creator for this wonderful opportunity. And again, I greet everybody in this universal greeting of peace and blessings, and all praises be to our Creator. So a little bit about me. I am Mehreen, hailing from South Africa, a beautiful South Africa. And I have been honored honoris causa, a professorship and doctorate in the field of education. I am the president of the South African chapter, Successful One Academy, Council for Joe Parker International. I am also just been given the professorship of education with the IIU, proudly so. So it is my honor and privilege to be here with you all today, and thank you for taking the time to listen to us and to be here and to share your thoughts with us also in the comments column. So today we are discussing empowerment for youth, something that I'm extremely passionate about because one of my passions is women and children. And education means that we are here for educating one and all to build a better humanity. And empowerment for youth is one of those concepts that is hugely crucial, right, for us all to be discussing and knowing a lot more about, because the youth, as we know, are our leaders of today, preparing for tomorrow, and you'll see what I mean by that. So in the topic, we said empowerment for youth. Now, the first thing we need to do, obviously, is understand what does this mean? What does this concept of empowerment for youth mean? If we have to find out the definition of empowerment, empowerment in itself is not about you becoming dictatorial. It's not about you becoming somebody who's going to tell the next person what to do and be a dictator of sorts, becoming powerful about other people. No. Empowerment for me, as I teach it, is about you growing yourself, developing yourself even more from within you. And it is you who actually grows you to be a better version of you, understand you a little better, become change your negatives to positives about you. And that's what empowerment is about. Empowerment for youth. Let us look at this concept of youth now, because that's what today's entire session is about, the youth. What exactly are we referring to when we're talking to the youth or about the youth? Youth range, according to the United Nations, between 15 and 24 years old. Now, if you are a youth, then you fall within the bracket. Of course, it depends on which country you come from. It also depends on what you are doing, etc., etc. But we will take it as if to mean you are between the age of 15 and 24. And we need to understand that the youth phases are the maturing phases. This is why it is very important to understand what we have to do and what they do and be on par with each other so that we can benefit each other as we prolong along our journey. Remember, when we talk about youth, we talk about somebody that we have this image of. We have an image of a youth who has this sense of vigor about them with this high spirit and this high vibe. And our youth today are just that. They are children and youth out there that have this vigor about them, that is the tenacity about them that makes them want to just take on more and build more. And why not? Because it is them and it is their lives. It is them who is actually the future of society. The youth are the future of society. They are the leaders of today, not tomorrow. I said this before and I'll keep saying it because I teach it. Our children, our youth are leaders of today, not of tomorrow. They are preparing for their tomorrow. That's what they are. They're preparing for the future. They're leaders of today preparing for that future. And we need to understand that the young generation is here because they need to renew, they need to refresh and maintain that they have a status within society that needs to be beneficial for all of us. IIU, for example, has just gotten over their 6-day program, which they had, and it included youth from across the globe. And it was amazing to watch and listen to all of these youth give off their ideas of what their rights are, give off their understandings of what their lives should be and can be and what needs to change about it. And the one thing that I took away from these children and part of that program was understanding how intelligent our youth are, how they have grasped concepts of today's life for them, and how they conceive things that need to be changed for them to be a betterment of society for them in their roles that they play. And if we just take cognizance of that, we realize our youth know. Our youth already know the changes that need to be made. We need to listen, to guide them in order to make those changes that are beneficial for us as well. So we need to learn one thing. We need to learn to include our youth. We need to include our youth and allow them to contribute in their different ideas with their different forms of energies in order to resolve certain social issues that come up, especially those that they themselves are facing as youth, because this makes them then capable leaders of their lives as well as the lives of us as well. The power of our youth, remember, is the common purpose and wealth of the entire world. And their idealism, the enthusiasm that they show, and the courage that they show, and that warrior quantum that they reveal to us, shows us that they really can be absolute beneficial leaders unto us all. Now, youth empowerment, remember, is something that I teach passionate about, like I said before. But the one thing I want us all to understand is that youth and empowering the youth is not an overnight development. It is something that is a process. So youth empowerment in itself is about a process where our children and our young people are now encouraged, where they will take charge of aspects of their lives, and where we then empower them and we give them certain tools and we teach them about these tools. And using these tools, they will then be able to address their situations and take positive actions in order to improve their access to, for example, certain resources which they may need. And this is then what is required for them to be able to transform their circumstances through their beliefs or their values or their attitudes, whatever it may be. But it's the tools that they will need to be able to transform negative situations into positive ones and will be better for them as well as those people that are around them. So we need to be able to teach our youth how to have that ability, because it's already innate within each one of us to have this ability to grow from within. Self-growth, self-development. Remember, we said this is what empowerment is about. Every one of us has this tenacity within us. So it is up to us to look to our children and our youth to help to actually develop that for them and help them to grow that within themselves, because they then need to learn how to make more informed decisions as their life progresses, as they hit stumbling blocks. They don't need to continuously sit down and think, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do? They need to be equipped with the tools to help them so they make these informative decisions and they able to get through what is becoming difficult circumstances if ever they endure them. So remember, change is inevitable. And for them to be able to implement those tools in their lives, we guide that process so that they can implement those tools to change their lives for the better, to change their decision-making processes for the better. And remember, we need to encourage our youth. We need to encourage them to do great things because they can. They can, and they have the capabilities to do that. They need to do great things for themselves, and we need to encourage that they can do this for themselves first. Before they make anybody else proud, they need to feel proud of their own accomplishments, about who they are from within themselves. We need to really show and understand that our youth do have this great impact that they give off into society and to all of us, not just within your home, but within your family unit, within your community, within your society, within your nation. Your youth around you are exactly just the epitome of what is going to be your future. So look around you and understand right now, what is it about your youth that needs your help, your guidance, and how can you contribute to that? How can you help to build up those youth using the tools that we need to help them equip themselves to make the differences that need to be made? Look around you in your little areas first, because it's the little areas, and that's how we grow bigger nationalities. We grow our nations better because we build on our youth. Let us pause to understand that there are different types of youth empowerment. I'm not going to go into each of the categories today, but I will just touch on what they are. So for me, there are 5 basic types of youth empowerment. The first one is the youth empowerment that is where the youth become more, they have a more sense of self. They learn more positive sense of their self. And that is what is crucial for them to develop those tools to get to a point where they can understand themselves even better. The second type of a youth being empowered is where they take in self-control. That is crucial in order for them to understand the differences between rights and wrongs. How do they make the correct choices? And if they've made the incorrect ones, how to make it better and correct them. The third type of the youth empowerment is the decision-making skill. That, of course, is crucial because when they're going through life, when they're going through different phases and different things occur, they're going to need to make decisions for themselves. There's going to come a point when we as adults are not going to be in that specific space or area, and they need to make decisions. We need to empower them to be able to make proper decisions. So decision-making skills is the third type. The fourth type of youth empowerment for me is about their system of beliefs, their moral system of beliefs, teaching them and empowering them with what is ethically right. What are the morals of your belief system? How do you need to conduct yourself? These are very crucial, especially if they're in the public all the time, because it's beneficial first for them. It's not just beneficial for society. The respect for the self, the respect for them, who they are. And the fifth type of youth empowerment is their social and pro-social connections and the objectives, and that is how they interact socially. So those are the types of youth empowerment, and maybe at some point we'll discuss each one in more detail. But those are the 5 types that I do and that we need to be aware of. There are also empowerment skills that are needed for youth. And I'll just touch on the 5 without again going into detail of each one. There are 5 coping skills, 5 skills that empower youth that are needed. That's the life coping skills, where they cope with anything that happens with them. There's the manipulative skills, where they learn how to manipulate a certain circumstance, but for the positiveness. There is the intellectual skill. There is the communicative skills, how they're able to interact, how do they talk, how do they get things across. And of course, there is the artistic skill, which is where you tap into who they are and resource what is it about them that is beneficial for them talent-wise. Every one of our children has something within them that is skill, and we need to develop what that skill is, find their fullest potential, and grow that. Now, to be empowered, remember, you need to develop your sense of self-awareness first so that you can understand your strengths and your weaknesses, because you also need to then be aware of what is it that you need to understand about your goals. Are your goals actually accomplishable? Are your goals actually set way too high? Are they even your goals, or are you copying someone else's goals? So if you are a youth listening to me right now, understand that you have got to develop your sense of self-awareness. You need to be aware of your strength, your weakness. Understand what is it about you that needs to change for positive from negative. What is it about you that you think needs a little bit of amending or adjusting in order for you to conform? Because remember, sometimes it may need for you to have to make decisions to change certain things about you in order for you to better life for you. And this can only come from you yourself, for you as a self. Remember, there is a difference between youth empowerment and youth development. When we're talking about development, we're not talking about it in a holistic scale where it's about the whole society. We're talking about you within yourself as a self, just developing you and growing you. When we're talking about youth empowerment, we're talking about you empowering yourself so that you become the catalyst effect of what empowerment needs to be around you. And that is crucial for you to understand, because your role is important for you, yes, but you as a youth need to understand that your role is key to your role within your environment, your family unit, your community, your society, and your nation. It starts with each one of us taking the cognizant stance to say, I can and I will. So you as a youth right now, listening to me, know that you are worthy. You are important. You are somebody that we are looking to develop specific strategies for us to go forward with tomorrow. So look around you right now and take cognizance of what is it that you need to change. What about yourself needs to be amended? What about your environment needs to change? And let's start by becoming more aware of these different changes. Development is key, but you can only develop something once you know it needs to be developed. How do you know it needs to be developed? You have to be aware of it. So remember this, please, at all different times. The young people out there, remember, all of us need to remember this. The young people out there are just capable of incredible, incredible things. I've seen it, I see it on a daily basis. And how we help them is key. How we as leaders of today, adults of today, parents of today, how we help these children actually become empowered is what is key, because they look to us for that. And so I'm going to give a few tips quickly. The first thing is to help our kids and our teenagers actually explore their fullest potential. Now, for us to do that, just like how we have just said, and I've just said that the youngsters have got to be able to be aware of themselves, you as the adult or the parent with the youth in front of you have got to also be aware of certain things about that specific child. You have to become aware of what is it about my child that is good? What is it about this child that is good? What is it about this child that I work with in order to better this child? What is the potential of the child that can actually be groomed so this child can be beneficial, that can be beneficial for the child so that this child can grow in it? You have as an adult around this child also have to be aware of the things around your child and what's happening with your child. So that is the key number one. We need to be able to explore these interests with the potential of our children and grow that potential to be positive potentials that grow and develop our kids. The second thing is, when we are with our children, become involved with your children. Our children are not, by the way, on the sideline. They're not that way. We need to make our children feel that we are part of their lives, where they can interact with us, where things work, and we can go into your children's rooms, sit with them, talk with them, and get a feel for where they're at. Try to come to their level, as opposed to always expecting the youth to come to your level. This is not how it operates, where I'm above you and you're above me, not when the youth are around. It's best when we're all on par. And when we actually sit with them and you develop certain traits with your child where you have a bond and a closeness with the youth around you, you will actually see that they have a certain way about them, and that's their potential. That's when you're tapping into it. And when you tap into that, see them watching certain videos or being too inclined into certain things, and ask questions. Ask them, do you see yourself actually doing something like this a few years from now? Get engrossed in what their mind is going through. What are they thinking? What are their hobbies? Do you even know right now what your child likes, what their child doesn't like? Do you know what are their hobbies? What do they love to do? What do they not love to do? Certain things, do we understand this as the adults? Do we take the time? Or are we just too busy in the rush of life to even understand what our youth are about, what our children are about? So it's really crucial for us to also step up in order to be able to meet our youth halfway and for us to work together with them to groom them. Another very important thing is for us to realize our children are sometimes very scared. Our youth out there have incredible potential. They do incredible things, but they're actually sometimes a bit scared. They're scared because of our adult judgment of them before they even attempt something. And that's where we go wrong. We need to allow our kids to be. We need to allow our youth to develop, to even make the small mistake in a classroom, to make the small mistake at home while doing a chore for you. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. We're always teaching that. So why is it different for our youth? We need to be able to say to the kids that, you know what? We expect this. And yet when it doesn't happen, don't make them feel so diminished because it didn't meet up with your expectation as the adult. The kids naturally sometimes feel that the adults don't expect them to do well at certain things, or that they will not be able to do it anyway, so they don't want to try. Be the opposite as the adult. Encourage participation of your youth around you in different programs. Encourage the youth in your community to do certain youth things together, and build up their encouragement from within them and offer just your support from the side. You just need to be the support. You need to be there as the guide. Whether it's a kid that's actually cleaning up your table, or whether it's the children actually getting involved in a whole community development program that you're getting them involved in, allow them to do the actual process of doing it. But stand back and be the guide. Let them know that you are there. If there's something that there's a hiccup with, they can come to you and you will guide them back onto the straight. But allow for them to develop that, and you will be amazed at the potential that these children have to grow themselves. I did projects with many, many children. And if there's one thing I've learned, is if I have to say to a child today, here's what we're going to do, here's the project, here's the guide, A, B, C, and this is the D result that I want. They will take it. And yes, they will do A, B, C, and they will give me D as the result. But let's just change that a little bit. What happens when I take the same project and I give it to the youth, or one of my children, and I say to them, here's what I want the result to be. D is what I'm looking for. I want you as the youth to develop A, B, C. What would be your methods of how to get me D as the result? And you listen and watch how those children and the youth are going to put up their own strategies, and how they will get to give you the same result for the same project, but it is theirs. They will give you 200% of loyalty and dedication into that because it becomes their own. So give them that benefit because they deserve that. They are incredibly brilliant. Give them that benefit and allow for them to grow with their potential in what they need to do. Another thing we use, and it helps to empower them, is to speak to our children very honestly. Knowledge is power. We all know this. Knowledge is key and it's power. When we are open and direct, honest with young people, it not only helps to expand the understanding of the world and builds us and our rapport with them, but it also helps for them to build a self-awareness within them, that you're entrusting an honest conversation with them. As the adult to the youngster, when you are honest with them, you're showing them that you actually trust them. And youth need that. Once they have that rapport with you of the trust, you will be able to be the go-to space when they need you. And we need to help equip our youth with the information to be successful. They need they need to see that the bigger picture is that we are there. They are there with us, and we all together as one. And we can be honest with each other to grow together. Because remember, and I think it was Tony Robbins who says, don't sweat the small stuff. Youngsters will always tell you, oh, don't worry about it, I can get it done. That's because really they feel that. They feel within them they can get it done. Don't really worry about it. When it's during examinations for the youngsters and they're at school, I sometimes think, even I'm as a mom, I think we stress more for the kids' examinations than they do. And yet they produced a good result. So Be honest with your children when you talk to them and give them that little bit of a gap for them to be able to be themselves with you too. It opens that awareness, that understanding between the both of you, which is so key and essential to empower them to feel that they are good within themselves. The other thing we need to do, and this is very closely linked to what I've just said about speaking honestly with them, is we need to trust their ability. Trust in the ability of the children as a leader. And I'll say this again for the third time in this entire session. Our children and our youth are leaders of today. And trust in that ability that they have, because whether it's a school project that they are doing, whether it's them leading community project that you are giving them to do, whether it's just a simple household chore, just understand that the young people have their own trajectory about how they will get that done. And they will. All you have to do is just be the assistant. Be the assistant, be the go-to space, and you will be amazed. And you will actually see that they will redirect to you when they need you. But give them the stance to know that you're recognizing them in the role of the leader already. It automatically implants within them that, oh, wow, I am actually being seen as this leader. They will encompass then the vision of themselves as a leader. And it will pull within them the prowess within them that makes them feel like I need to do right, I need to do good, I need to be my best. And that's what we need to empower them. Not just words where I sit there and I tell you as a child, A, B, C, and you're feeling happy today, and then I move away. No, I need to equip you for you to feel excellent within yourself. And one of the ways to do that is really just understand that children do whatever they need to do and equip them with what they need to do it so that they can do it well, and then stand back and watch them do the project that you want them to do. And then understand that when they finished, go back to them. Go back to the youth when they're done with your youth project and say to them, so now give me your feedback. Tell me, where do you think everything went right? And what do you think we can improve on? And when you're asking them for that, you're validating their existence, you're validating their efforts, you're validating who they are. And that's what they need as youth. So when they are done with the project you give them, go back to them. Go back to them and get the feedback from them and ask, I'll say it again, ask them, what do you think was so right about this entire project that you did? And also ask them, what do you think can be improved about the project you did? Now, please notice, I did not say ask them what went wrong. And I'm specific about that because the type of language we use with our youth is very important, because the language that is implanted within them sticks with them. If I have to say to them, what went wrong, automatically within them, it registers that, oh my gosh, I did something wrong. No. But I would rather use terminology that works for the youth, that will say, so how do you think what do you think can improve the next time we do a project? There's nothing that is wrong in what they've done. So how you use terminology when you are speaking to the youth, please be very careful. Be very careful, because they're sponges. They sponge of everything that we say and how we say it, the tone you use. That's going to be a whole new session on its own. But when youth are empowered, when youth are really genuinely empowered, they feel confident, they feel capable, and they just want to do more. They give more active contributions. And that is exactly what we look for, because they need to take on the world. And they can. They can. They can take on this world, and they can take on this world successfully. And if you are listening to me right now, I want to say this to you, youth out there, all of you youth out there, you are the center of our being. You as the youth are the center of our being. You are the lives of our future, literally. Literally, you are the lives of our future. You're the beings that we have to revolve around right now. You are the center of an absolute strength that we need to draw from, because we need to draw from you to keep going for our tomorrows as well. And as the youth of today, I know that you think big and you hope for the best, and you envision even that better tomorrow, even when we as the adults don't see a better tomorrow sometimes. But it's that positive streak that our youth have that we need to latch onto as the adults also. And I'm grateful that our youth have that streak in them, because that's what we start with. We start with knowing and acknowledging and being aware of these positive traits that our youth have. And we need to build on them, because we need to understand that when our youth are empowered, a lot of things change, not just for us adults, but for society. When our youth are empowered, we can eradicate poverty, because empowered youth today will help we have. And empowering of the youth can help our youth to understand the importance of our education that leads to the actual societal improvement of countries, of nations, because education, we know, is key. And empowering our youth is definitely what is, because it grows in our educational facilities. It grows where they grow academically, but they grow together with the skill. And that is what's important for us to know, because they all joined. And when these two join together, the skill and the academia, that and your empowerment, of course, and the triangular force becomes force to be reckoned with. Justice today as it will tomorrow is to all go on about the 21st century. The 21st century is not here, it is here, it is now. And youth empowerment is important for us. If we have to get to a specific point of positiveness, we need to be